Hello everybody and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Guapish Rule 34. As always, I'm your host Tanner, and today I'm joined by my super special co-host, Nico.
That's right, guys, it's me, Nico, and I'm really excited about today's episode. So grab yourself a snack and a glass of orange juice and try not to reach through that screen, because here we go!
And also joining us is my super special co-host, Jackson.
I'm in constant agony, I'm in constant agony, I'm in constant agony, I'm in constant agony.
And finally joining us is our super duper super special co-host, Dylan.
Hey, what's up? I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I think we're going to have a fun time.
Starting off, let's just run people through the thing. We're not going to eat up a ton of time doing this, but ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of year again. The Game Awards are upon us.
Oh, no.
And as is tradition, we are doing our annual Game Awards predictions. Now, most years we spend an entire episode running through all the categories and making our picks, and we decide not to do that this year. So we've already made our picks, and yeah, you guys will just have to see the fucking reveal episode when that finally happens on December 7th. One wrinkle we are throwing in is that I had a non-internet compatible ChatGPT make predictions for the entire thing, and if the bot beats us, then we all have to endure the punishment.
I just want to say this was my idea originally. I just didn't follow through on it.
Well, your idea was, yes, to use the ChatGPT. Correct.
Just wanted to make sure I
put all the pizzazz into it. Anyway.
You sure did.
I'm down to move on. Do any of you guys have any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns about Game Awards this year? Anything you feel like bringing up?
Jeff Keighley is a fucking hack. I just want to get that out here real quick,
I feel like we say that every year.
Yeah, because it's true, and the internet refuses to acknowledge it.
Oh.
Can I replace my ingredient in the milkshake with whatever I already picked, but instead replace it with liquid ass?
Yeah, you can do that. Wait, hold on. Is liquid ass toxic, or, like, can you consume that?
Probably not.
Why would you do that?
We'll have to check the toxicity on it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But if it's edible, sure, we'll put liquid ass in there.
Is that not a joke? What is that?
It's just it's like liquid smoke, but it's stinky, and that's literally the whole point.
Oh.
Yeah, like really stinky.
Mm-hmm.
Is it more for a smell gag, or is it for a taste gag? Because I feel like...
I assume a smell gag.
Okay. Somebody's... That's a really good way to get somebody's breath smelling like ass, to be completely honest. That'd be funny.
Okay. Should they take back Boogie's Content Creator of the Year award?
I mean, yes, they very obviously should, but at the same time, like, I don't know, they kind of usually just seem to pick, like, really controversial YouTubers for that fucking award, so I'm really scared of what's going to happen to Iron Mouse here coming up.
Do you think Boogie still has that award?
I'm sure he has it fucking framed up on his wall. It's his one possession that he can, like, look back on fondly.
That's funny. What a downfall from that guy.
I called it from the very beginning, dude. From the very beginning, I was like, I don't know why people like this Boogie guy. What the fuck is up with that? And you were like, dude, what's wrong with you?
I never said that. That's not true.
It is, dude. It's
not true. It's not true because I literally don't know anything about the man, so I don't know why I would ever say that.
You see, Tanner, we watched the Game Awards the year he was elected as the big boy himself, okay? Mm-hmm. And during the Game Awards, he wasn't able to walk up on stage to grab his award because he's so fucking fat. And I was like, that's pretty funny.
Oh, no.
And you were like, dude, are you serious? That's not okay. What's wrong with you?
I probably didn't say that. You're lying.
Tanner, for some reason, you, like, get really uppity when people make fat-phobic remarks.
No, that's not true.
It's 100% true.
You're a liar. I think ever since I became, a fucking hunk, maybe now I'm cool with it, and I wasn't before because I was fat.
Gotcha, okay.
Just a deep seated
It just hit too personally before.
Yeah, sure, something like that.
It was like those statements were actually about you instead is how you're perceiving them in your mind.
Yeah, there you go.
Alright, so guys, we've been watching an awful lot of disaster movies recently on Guapish at the Movies, correct?
Mm-hmm. Both in literal and figurative senses.
Exactly. And so, I was thinking that it could be fun to maybe dust off the old producer chair for Jackson here, get him situated up in his high ivory tower of his, where he gets to, like, deliver the goods to the people, as it were, and have the three of us pitch to him our very own disaster movies that we want to get made in Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Jackson,
Gotcha.
are you ready for this task?
Oh yeah, I'm so ready to tell you guys you're all failures as writers.
Whoa.
Can I give a generic answer right now and then come up with a unique answer?
Sure, I guess. Go for it.
Well, I think it'd be cool to have a disaster movie where it's literally just fucking Ragnarok.
Okay.
And there's like zero explanations of anything that's going on. Like literally it's like it like starts out like World War Z where it's just, Brad Pitt and his fucking family or something, and then Thor without any explanation, fucking comes down out of the heavens and starts fighting a giant snake or some shit. But like we never frame it from the perspective of the gods themselves. It's always from the perspective of average people who are like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty
Average.
fucking cool.
Average superhero movie.
It'd be like I'm imagining Cloverfield, but with Norse gods.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Gotcha. Makes sense to me.
All right, so what about for your like actual movie pitch then?
I need time to formulate it. Have someone else go.
Dude, I thought you were like the improv master though.
I am the improv master. So my idea is that we have what's interesting is my mind always jumps to like monsters, but I feel like a monster movie and a disaster movie are two different things.
Yeah, those are very different in my mind.
I guess.
Let's say it turns out that the Hollow Earth theory is true, and then a giant earthquake causes the Earth to start collapsing in on itself.
Oh, so it's like a massive sinkhole is going down.
Yeah. There we go. It's a sinkhole disaster movie, and the sinkhole is caused by the Earth being hollow.
There you go. Yeah, it's just like a sinkhole that's rapidly expanding and slowly like sucking the entire Earth into itself.
It's actually a 2-hour long one of those like action car chase scenes. And Jackson, since you're the producer, we'll have a sweet ass like whatever your favorite car is. That'll be the car that this man is driving to get away from this expanding sinkhole.
That's cheating.
Tanner wins. GG. It's over.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's some cheating right there.
Are there like lizard people, like the underground lizard people society in the Hollow Earth that are going to come out and like take over the newfound world that's collapsed?
So the movie ends with them. They'll have successfully gotten far enough away from the sinkhole that they plant a bunch of bombs in a big circle, and in much the same way you'll set fire lines to fight wildfires. They will pre-collapse portions of the Earth's crust to stop the sinkhole from going over to their land, and then the movie ends with like a lizard person crawling up from the edge of the Earth, and then black screen, and it fucking says God, what's the name of this movie?
Holes.
See, that's where my mind went to, but
yeah, get fucking Shia LaBeouf in it.
yeah, I feel like disaster movies always have stupid names. So yeah, we'll just call it
Uncrustable.
A sinking feeling.
Oh, I guess that works.
Uncrustable. That's terrible. Yeah, it'll have Shia LaBeouf, Mark Wahlberg,
Oh, let's go.
Nicolas Cage, Keanu Reeves, and Hong Kong Doll.
You're just really trying to pander to the guy as much as possible, aren't you?
Dude,
Well,
I love
yeah.
this guy. Big fan.
Tanner's cheating so hard right now.
How is it cheating?
I
You
don't
guys
know.
can do the same thing.
I'm not going to, because I won't stoop that low.
He has
Okay.
he has integrity, unlike you.
Well,
Damn.
that's why I'm making it in the movie business, baby.
All right, so I'll go next here. I'll go next with my idea. All right, so picture it, okay? Picture this. We're in like a fucking random research facility. We're slowly like zooming in on one of the researchers who's tippity typing away on his big old computer, and then suddenly there's like a blink that goes off, and he looks over and is like, "Huh? Well, that's weird." So he like adjusts his glasses and then gets a closer look, and he says, "Oh my god!" And then boom, we get the big title sequence. All right. And so we then cut to like fucking the UN having a big old meeting where they're talking about what's going on. They're like, "Oh my gosh, fucking Japan's gone. It got destroyed. China just like crashed into it, careened into it, and destroyed it. What's happening? This is so crazy." And then the big old scientist, he walks out. He's being played by fucking, not Mark Wahlberg. You have him in my mind now. I had someone before I wanted to play him, but I can't remember because of fucking Mark Wahlberg, dude.
Matt Damon?
No, not Matt Damon. That's not him either. It's
Ben Watanabe.
It's the fucking, the whale guy. The whale guy, you know? What's his name?
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, Brendan Fraser.
Oh.
We have Brendan Fraser being the main role in this movie, the main lead, as it were. And so he comes to the UN, he's like, guys, I have the solution. I know what's going on. The Earth is reverting back into Pangea.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so it's up to Brendan Fraser to get a ragtag group of folks together, and they are going to be trying to get the Earth to stop becoming Pangea once again.
Nico, unfortunately, the big downside with your movie is that trying to stop the Earth forming Pangea is lame as fuck. I want to see the Earth revert back to Pangea. I want the movie to be based around people figuring out how to make that work into what they're currently living in. Your movie has failed from a basic level.
But Jackson, consider this, dude. Consider this. It'll have mass market appeal, man. Because, as I said, China fucking demolishes Japan, okay? And, like, we're going to be seeing this from, like, the Japanese point of view. There'll be massive waves coming up as the literal country of China just destroys their entire small island nation. Like, do you have any idea how much overseas appeal that's going to have? The Chinese are going to eat this shit up, dude.
Nico, you're doing a horrible job pandering to me. You're doing the opposite right now.
Dude, you got to consider this, man. We're trying to make some motherfucking money here, all right? And the best way to do that is to get the Chinese markets on our side.
Nico, unfortunately, I'm looking here for a passion project, right? I'm looking for a last big bang in my producing career, and you're not giving me what I'm looking for.
How's this for a passion project, Jackson? I'll get you some hookers, okay? How does that sound?
Gosh.
Dylan, what's your idea?
All right, Nico kind of went. I was gonna go with plate tectonics as my horror disaster thing, but Nico kind of took it, so now I'm gonna go another vein. So this one's gonna be about volcanoes in the Ice Age, and I know what you're thinking. How does that make any sense? You can't have volcanoes and the Ice Age. Well, here's how it works. All right. You got all these volcanoes on planet Earth going off at the same time for some reason, and nobody knows why. There's just been some like violent reactions, some kind of like ocean water or some kind of combustible mineral got into the mantle where all the magma is under the Earth's crust. It's just causing all these volcanoes, dormant ones or just extinct ones, to just start spewing out lava. So what that's doing is removing all the heat from the center of the Earth, which, as we know, is what keeps our planet from like freezing up. It keeps us like tolerable on this planet. So then what ends up happening is like the core of the Earth just starts rapidly losing temperature, but the surface of the Earth, for obvious reasons, is just extremely hot. So there's absolutely nothing they can do to stop the volcanoes. They're trying to plug them up, but they can't plug all the volcanoes fast enough, right? And then they can't stop just the ground freezing, the oceans from freezing. Mind you, salt water is way harder to freeze in large quantities than regular not salt water. So it's just baffling. The poles combined, they make one big super pole. You just get frozen ice everywhere. There's no more ocean between countries. Countries just start freezing. People start freezing to death. They start freezing their feet to the ground. People lose their limbs. However, the solution that the humanity comes up with to counteract this ice age is they harness the power of the lava and they put it into generators that just cycle the lava infinitely, so it never cools, it never turns into obsidian or anything, and people learn to live off of just the lava as a thermal source, and they actually start using it as currency. But then also what ends up happening, much similar to Tanner's movie, is something that lay dormant that the magma was keeping at bay awakens, and they pop through the crust, and next thing you know, they have to fight against these creatures that thrive off of obtaining lava and keeping it in their own system. And that's a setup for the sequel to the movie.
Holy shit. You had me at trying to plug up the volcanoes. That shit is fucking retarded and hilarious. And then using lava as currency is also fucking retarded and hilarious. This sounds like some fucking B-tier disaster movie shit, and I'm all for it.
Let's go.
Now, Dylan, when you first said Volcano Ice Age,
yeah,
what I imagined was you were going to pitch a disaster movie set in like 10,000 BC. which sounds fucking awesome. I want to see that. I want to see cavemen like fucking riding woolly mammoths and shit running away from volcanoes.
That would
I like
be
that
pretty
idea.
cool. One idea that immediately flashed in my head when I said that too was like, oh, maybe volcanoes just spew out ice and cold and snow for some reason, but I wouldn't be able to scientifically say how that works. So
Now, I will say, Dylan, your pitch sounds a little similar to Day After Tomorrow.
oh. It's not.
Just a little bit. Because you're like, a hot thing is then making it cold.
Not the similarity I thought you were going to draw. I definitely, just a little over halfway through my explanation, I realized I was actually referencing a game I have played in the past. And
Lost Planet?
Yeah.
Metroid Other M.
I very quickly, I did not intentionally start this way, and then when I realized the lava currency and Ice Age thing, I was like, oh shit, I'm making this Lost Planet, and I just went with it.
There you go. Just do Lost Planet then.
Yeah.
Here's my final pitch for an idea. The entire continent of China grows legs and starts walking around destroying every other country. We're gonna make so much money off of that one.
And like it just constantly cuts to like the Chinese citizens and they're really jazzed about it. They're just cheering, "Go China! Go China!"
Woo!
Crush France!
Yeah, exactly. And then in the American, we'll have a special like director's cut edition in America where America also then grows legs and they fight each other and we win.
There we go.
But that version won't be shown in China.
No. They won't even know it exists. It'll be blacklisted from their internet.
Exactly.
Yeah, right there next to Tiananmen Square.
Here's the movie pitch. Listen, if you want to make money in this business anymore, you need to appeal to China. So what we're going to make is Tiananmen Square, the real story, where we portray the students as like racist, sexist, pedophile, like radical extremists, and the tanks as, virtuous patriots for the homeland.
Oh,
there we go.
Okay.
You'll have the protesters just like burning down businesses and shit like that.
They'll be like kicking babies in the street. It'll be great.
Yeah, there'll be a scene where they like stab a woman multiple times, and later we find out that woman was pregnant all along. Oh my god.
Do you know what were in those grocery bags? And then it zooms in and does an x-ray, and it's like an infant skeleton and a puppy or something.
Yeah, it's a bag of puppies.
Oh, that's terrible. I hate that.
We should make that like just a really shitty mockumentary where it's just like blatant Tiananmen Square like apologism.
Oh.
I think we could make that in rural Oregon. I think we could get it done.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or a bus. Record a little
We'll figure it out.
movie.
If these protesters were so innocent, why'd they go to jail?
We can use our miscellaneous cars to represent the tanks.
Yeah.
Jackson, at the end of it all, who do you think takes the cake?
I still think I have never heard of any of these fucking games or things you guys are referencing. Apparently, with Dylan's idea outside of obviously Day After Tomorrow. I think his idea is fucking batshit ridiculous, and it's the movie I'd want to watch the most. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the idea of the Pangea reformation thing is cool as well. Honestly, I'd probably put that at number 3 behind Tanner's because of the pandering and also because of Nico's plotline. But it probably would have been number 2 if Nico went with my idea.
Dude, picture this though, man. Picture this.
I don't wanna!
Brendan Fraser needs to steer Africa around New Zealand to stop it from destroying it.
I don't want them to stop destroying New Zealand.
He wants New Zealand gone. How do you like the idea of a prehistoric disaster movie?
I think that could be fun. There's also the opportunity of doing a post-us, whatever, fucking disaster movie. Something like way into the future and AI is taking over. I think, well, that's just the Matrix. Never mind.
Narrated by Graham Hancock.
There we go.
Oh, I guess Moonfall technically wouldn't be futuristic end of the world because that was technically current year. Never mind.
That was futuristic.
I mean, it was futuristic
future
from the perspective of like this was our predecessors that designed all this, and I guess if you take it from the perspective of the ancestors, then yes, it is futuristic.
A long, long time ago.
I thought you were about to start doing the Star Wars intro, and I was about to get real confused because you don't like Star Wars.
Whoever said I don't like Star Wars?
You.
Tanner loves Star Wars. I feel like he is easily the biggest Star Wars fan here.
Yeah, no, I feel like what I've always said is I like Star Wars, but I recognize it's bad.
Really quick, Tanner, what's your take on Star Wars Rebels? Because I don't think I've ever heard you say anything or mention anything about that show.
That's probably because that show is very unremarkable in my mind.
Okay.
It's fine. It's like it's a severe downstep from the Clone Wars
in like every way.
Yeah,
in every single way. And I imagine it's largely because for some reason Disney they were like, let's make a Clone Wars, but this one's for kids. And then people were like, but the Clone Wars was also for kids. And they're like, well, we think kids can't handle, real shit. So there's a tiny amount of real shit in Rebels, but that's not till like way later.
The main character is easily the worst part of that entire show. He's fucking awful. I despise him.
Yeah, he gives me like Aladdin vibes, oddly enough. I don't know if that's...
You're just saying that because he's brown.
That's not why I'm saying that, but okay.
I'm pretty sure, but...
No, because they like depict him as like a street rat, and then he tries to like rise to the level of greatness because he's actually supposed to be a powerful Jedi or whatever. They're trying to depict... I remember one of the parts I left off on. They were trying to depict him as like one of the stronger Force users. They just needed to unlock his potential or something.
That show is a complete blur to me. Like, I watched through the whole thing. I don't remember almost jack's shit other than like how it ends.
I watched it here and there. I did not watch it all the way through.
Yeah, the fact that it's definitely much more pandering towards children is definitely its biggest detriment, I would say. Like, any sort of, like, serious scene that they ever have, it has to immediately be undercut, where it'll have, like, fucking Ahsoka fighting Anakin or some shit, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is the first time they've seen each other ever since, like, he turned to the dark side or whatever, and they're having, like, this big monologue, and just cut to main character boy, and it's like, huh, good grief.
Yeah,
it's fucking awful.
Star Wars is, just not a well done universe, let's say. It's not it shows that all of this shit was made at different times with no plans of making any shit that came after any of it. Like, because Ahsoka, fan favorite character, people love her.
100%.
Her existence does not make any fucking sense given the prequels. Like, you think she would have come up at some point in the movies, but they didn't know she existed when they made the movie, so now we just have this, like, it's fucking confusing.
Pretty much.
They also have this problem of, like, in A New Hope, it's like, listen, Obi-Wan is the only Jedi left, and he's gotta train up Luke. This is very important. But then, like, all of the expanded universe shit is like, there's actually 500 Jedi just all over the place. Like, you can't go to a new planet without stumbling on another Jedi.
Yeah, pretty much. Guys, we should rewrite the Star Wars universe. We should just do it.
That sounds like a terrible idea. So speaking of like Star Wars and like disaster movies and stuff like that, do you guys feel like there are any just like genres of film you just can't really get into? You feel like?
Yes.
I mean,
like
chick flicks, obviously.
Yeah, chick flick movies are kind of meh. Horror, I guess horror movies have grown on me a little bit. I still won't go out of my way to watch them, mind you, but I think that's kind of it. I kind of just consume any kind of media.
Is Saw a genre of movie? Does that fall into some genre?
I feel like that falls under horror.
It falls under murder porn is what that falls under.
Okay. I'm not really into like... let me see if how I can phrase this in a way that makes sense.
I don't like people getting dismembered in front of...
Yeah.
See, I don't like gore when it's, like, serious, where you're like, oh, shit, that looks believable. Yeah. I love gore when it's, like, over the top and stupid.
Like in Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, exactly. when it's gore where, like, there's no chance of me being like, oh my god, that could happen in real life, then I can enjoy it.
That's
so
fair.
what makes, like, Saw different to you than, like, fucking, what the fuck is that movie even called?
Terrifier.
Because Terrifier is like super over the top and goofy, and I feel like Saw plays it a lot more straight.
I don't know if I'd say Terrifier was goofy.
He literally cut a girl in half.
Yeah,
What about her bones?
That wasn't goofy. That made me so uncomfortable. That was so unnecessary.
That shit was so goofy. I literally
could feel that in my pussy.
Yeah, I could too.
So I'm gonna float these ones by you guys.
Okay.
Sci-fi and like medieval fantasy, I'm not a big fan of in film.
You can't get into sci-fi?
No.
What?
That's crazy.
Sci-fi is probably my biggest jam. Like, you throw a sci-fi movie in front of me, I will probably like it. Mm-hmm. Regardless of whether or not it scientifically makes sense.
It's weird because like sci-fi and fantasy and shit like that, I'm like way into it in basically anything else other than movies.
But why is that?
That's kind of what I'm trying to figure out here, you know? Like, I don't like fucking like manga and shit like that, or like anime, fucking video games where it's set in like a sort of medieval fantasy setting. That shit's fucking awesome. Video games set in sci-fi settings, you got like halos and shit like that. That's sweet as hell. I'm a big fan of that. But like, when it comes to film, I don't know. I feel like there's like this sort of inherent sort of like whimsy, I guess, that goes to those sorts of genres that's just completely lost once you get to film. Like, once you put a real guy in these sorts of settings, it's like, well, I could see this exact same thing being done like significantly better in other forms of media.
So, my guess is at this point, it's because when you're watching a movie, you're probably more grounded in reality at that point. Because when you're playing video games, reading manga, watching anime, whatever, you know for a fact, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that these characters are completely made up. In that universe, that is completely separate. And that also, when you're watching a movie, especially when they try to shoot it in live action, but then there's just stuff that just doesn't exist in our world that we have to CGI, and sometimes CGI isn't up to par, sometimes it is, it's whatever. But it's like you have realism with CGI, and then you have the two, and especially when it's sci-fi, it doesn't click in your brain, would probably be my biggest, like, reason to that argument.
Nico's a fucking hater. That's the real thing we found out here.
I don't know about that.
Do you find this extends to, like, animated movies that are sci-fi?
No.
Interesting.
Like, there it's fine.
Okay.
I feel like the big thing here is that I feel like live action just makes it so like these sorts of genres just can't really live up to their full potential is the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Yeah, based on, like I was saying, where you can only go so far with live action because you just have to CGI the rest of it. And
yeah, that makes sense to me. Do you like more serious sci-fi like a Star Trek, or more like action-adventure sci-fi like a Star Wars?
I'm definitely more into action-adventure. I don't like either of those that you just mentioned, but...
Whoa.
Yeah, probably not the best examples, but...
And, like, I'd say...
I mean, they are the best examples, but
yeah,
he's just saying he doesn't like either of
what
them.
they are. However, like, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy is still pretty good. Like, there can still be exceptions to it. It's just, generally speaking, I feel like they just don't hit quite right there, you know? They don't hit quite right. That extends, like, beyond just, like, film as well. Like, for different fucking, like, forms of media, I just won't really be into, like, certain things I would be into somewhere else. For example, with like anime, I'm not particularly a big fan of like dramas and shit like that, which I know is a real knock against Jackson there, who loves that shit, but like, I feel like I just much prefer something like that in live action.
Okay. I definitely had a thought and I immediately lost it. Damn it. It was something you were saying and I was gonna have you expand on that thought and I completely lost it.
Oh well.
C'est la vie.
Speaking of movies...
We're not there yet, Tanner. Come on.
I think we actually are there already, but...
We could be. However, Jackson, do you have any sort of things you want to go into here?
No, I love all movies.
What?
I love every genre. There's no genre I don't like. I love them all.
Well, if that's the case, then I guess we can just hop right into Guapish with the movies.
Wait. I do have a thing.
Ah! Go for it.
What? Why isn't kart racing a genre in movies?
Kart racing?
Gran Turismo came out. What are you talking about?
Yeah, there's like the Little Rascals, you know?
Holy shit.
Is that a movie?
Yeah.
His Little Rascals. What do you mean is that a movie?
I haven't seen anything about a Little Rascals movie.
You've 100% seen the Little Rascals, Dylan.
Yeah, there's no way you
No,
haven't
I've
seen
seen
the
the
Little
Rascals. I just didn't know it was a movie.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, I'm thinking of the Rugrats. Never mind.
You sure are, dude.
What are the Little Rascals? Hold on. Now I'm confused.
You've 100% seen these movies before.
I need to Google it. Give me a second.
Dylan, we watched it at daycare together, dude.
That was a long time ago.
Text your mom and ask her if she likes the Little Rascals.
Oh, your mom will fucking love the
Your
Little
mom
Rascals.
Oh, it's these kids!
Okay.
There you go.
For some reason, I associate this with The Sandlot for some reason. I don't know why.
Gotcha.
Those movies are not similar whatsoever.
I mean, they both have collections of children doing little things.
That's also true.
I don't know why. I assumed you were gonna liken it more to Fat Albert than The Sandlot.
No, not really.
I think those movies, occupy the same sort of headspace. It's like Little Rascals, Sandlot, The Goonies.
Yeah, The Goonies, I was about to say.
Do you think The Goonies would have to be renamed if it was made today?
I mean, I don't... In what way would that be derogatory?
Well, I don't know. Do we want to explain it to Dylan?
I feel like I have a lot of things explained to me. Why would this be any different?
Jackson, can you explain what gooning is to Dylan?
No, I don't wanna.
I'm gonna look it up.
Jackson's so out of this episode. Alright, so picture this, Dylan.
Oh, I guess I won't look it up.
Are you familiar with masturbating, dude?
I guess so.
Picture that, but to its extreme.
I don't know what that means. What is
You
extreme?
just do it a lot.
Oh.
Yeah. Incessantly. To the point where it becomes a severe addiction.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
I'm
Yeah.
actually edging right now.
Why? That's why he has his camera off.
That is a big part of gooning. You have to like constantly edge yourself.
Oh.
Do you know what edging is?
Maybe.
Okay.
Explain edging to us,
I don't
Dylan.
want to. Can we move on?
Dylan, where is the clit?
I don't want to talk about this. Let's move on.
Dylan, were you aware that the male penis is what used to be the clit?
Yes.
What? The male penis?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
When
I
you're
guess.
in utero, Jackson, the clitoris turns into a penis, bro.
Bullshit.
Yeah, it's true.
Prove it.
Unfortunately,
This is fake pseudoscience.
it's not.
Fake
It's
news?
it's gonna be on the sex ed quiz, dude. You need to brush up on
There's
this
a
shit.
sex ed quiz. I'm gonna lose,
Not yet,
boys.
but like, can I make that one? That sounds fucking
You're the one
hilarious.
who suggested it, so yeah.
Did
Oh.
I?
Yes.
I feel like you're the
Holy
most
shit.
prepared for this quiz, Tanner. So it would make sense for you to
Thank
host
you.
it. Jesus.
Speaking of hosting, though, I think it's about time we host our most popular segment of all time, Guapish at the Movies.
Guapish at the movies.
I don't remember any of the songs that we had in the movies this week. I actually don't even remember the movies we watched this week.
Dun, 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 dun.
What are you referring? What is the song you were singing?
J. Burdette. What's that fucking French song?
Oh yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. There we go.
I have an important question. That being, so obviously we are all under the perception that Go Up to the Movies is our main segment, and that this is what people come to watch us for. Is that the case? Do people actually not give a fuck about Go Up to the Movies? Nobody actually looks at the website. It's all just us. We're the only 4 people that give a fuck about any of this.
Yes. I mean, there are people viewing our movies, but I think our audience retention is so low that, yes, it is only us actually watching these things.
I feel like
Yeah.
Tanner's dad just skips right to Guapish at the Movies.
I was
That
about
might
to
be
say,
the
like,
case.
a lot of people probably, if people do watch our podcast, they probably don't know that Guapish at the Movies exists because we always do it at the last, like, portion of the podcast, in which case, a lot of people don't even make it to. So I would say it's a struggle to say it is our main segment.
Nico, you should put like a big Guapish at the Movies timestamp or something at the start of the video so they can just like click it or something and go right to it.
Yeah. Hey there, guys. If you didn't know, we have a cool segment called Guapish at the Movies. You can click on the screen right now to go straight to it. Hope you enjoy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Jackson, what did we watch this week?
Does it matter?
Well,
Isn't
hang on
Dylan-
a second
isn't
there,
Dylan-
buddy.
Yeah, isn't
Oh.
Dylan gonna give a short synopsis?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did watch Dawn of the Dead, so I guess I'll just start with that. Yeah, it was an interesting movie. I completely forgot everything you guys had said about it, but then after listening to the podcast again, and having you guys talk about it after I had watched it, I was like, huh, interesting that I had the exact same thoughts, and maybe your guys' words subconsciously swayed me. But, yeah, this movie was a little goofy. I don't know if I thought it was as goofy as you guys. I didn't think it was a good movie, mind you. It was definitely very interesting. They went very low effort on 90% of the zombies, where a lot of them were either just blue or just not colored at all. I definitely saw a large handful of people who were just regular people walking around. There were a lot of... I agree with Tanner's comment, going back to the podcast as well, where you have a lot of incompetent survivors and a lot of incompetent zombies, where I started keeping a running tally, I don't remember the number, of the amount of times people definitely should have died to zombies in this movie. And also on top of that, I realized something about zombie movies, in which they have a fallacy that a lot of them fall under, is that zombies eat people, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So in that regard, if zombies are just eating people, like, as a whole, like, the entire person, but you need to get bit to be infected, assuming that the only reason you get infected is that you don't have your human survivors to pull you away from the zombies, how are there such large amounts of zombie populations in any of these movies if they're just eating people?
Because they're the dead. They're not all getting all eaten.
That was not the case in this movie.
To be fair, with how incompetent these zombies are, I don't think it's all that unbelievable that you're just like, yeah, a lot of people, they'll get bit on the hand, and then they push the zombie away and run away and then die.
I guess so, but anyway, that's aside the point. Yeah, but I gave Dawn of the Dead a C-. I thought it was a below-average movie.
Whoa.
But only slightly below
Not
average.
that below average.
Yeah, well, it's not, like, I think you and Jackson gave it a D+, so really not too far off base. I'm also just tend to be on the more positive side of movies. As far as, you guys wanted me to, like, you guys, like, saw my ranking for Skinamarink. It was just an F because I was bored for the movie. In case our audience didn't know, I think it was actually mentioned during the podcast episode, I fell asleep 3 times trying to watch this movie. But I will say one thing the movie had going for it was it did have a really good way of building up suspense. But I would say a decent 80 to 90% of the movie, I had zero clue what was going on. And I watched it by myself, mind you, because I know Jackson went and watched it again by himself, and he said he understood so much more about the movie. I didn't understand a thing, and I was watching it by myself with no distractions. Like, half the time, at least, I was staring at a wall, or a corner, or the ceiling. The kids were talking, I couldn't hear them. I thought they were 2 little boys. Apparently it was a older brother and his younger sister. Apparently the dad was there at some point, but all I saw was the mom. I don't know.
Unfortunately, my brain's just fucking massive, and I just put the pieces together.
You also watched it twice. So, I don't know. Just really boring. Like I said, it did suspense pretty well, but it did not grab me in any sort of way. So, I can't think highly of a movie that only had one good thing going for it. So, and then in terms of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, I honestly can't remember what rating I gave that. I think I gave it a B- or something. But, yeah, as far as I was concerned with that movie, that movie was not intended to follow the game, which is what some people who are very surface level about the whole thing would think. Because apparently it just involves a lot of the books in the back, the lore and all that stuff from the books and all that. So I went with my little sister and her friends, and so we kind of collaborated a lot during the movie and before the movie and after the movie. We talked about a lot of things. So I had kind of just I appreciated the story a lot. I liked how they designed the animatronics. I liked the environment they had set up. The story was kind of slow. It was kind of just, I wish it was more engaging. I did wish they had more aspects of the game in the movie, but that's just me personally, even though I would have absolutely hated that. But yeah, I really appreciated how they brought the plot and the story and the storytelling in this movie, and I think that's probably what drug it up the most for me, for as far as me giving like a B- or whatever it was. So yeah, that's kind of what I had.
There we go. Did you get around to watching Cleopatra?
I did not. I'm gonna watch it probably tomorrow at this point.
Understandable. It's just the longest book.
Yeah.
Anyways, we watched some incredible movies this week. We watched, of course, our Patreon pick, Midnight Cowboy, which is the first one we're going to be talking about. And, of course, the person that's going to be talking about that is Tanner, because he's the one that likes this movie so much, and he just wants to talk about it.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy. Midnight Cowboy is the story of Joe Buck. He's just a hoedown, low-down Texas boy trying to make it in the big city. I believe that his plan the whole time... I can't tell if he's moving to the city because he wants to just sleep around, or if he's trying to, like, make a living as a male prostitute. I think he's trying to... Yeah.
I think he's just trying to find some rich person to be like his sugar mama was the intention.
Yeah, he did mention at one point he was a hustler, so that could mean a couple different things.
Yeah, he's either looking for a sugar mama, or he's just like, man, I got that dog in me. I can make money as a male prostitute, which it isn't possible. But, unless you're doing gay shit, which he does!
He does? Oh, yeah, never mind. Continue.
Yeah, he does, yeah. Anyway, he does gay shit, and he befriends Ratso. Ratso is a piece of shit. I don't know why he hangs out with him, and then Ratso is dying, and they're like, well, let's go to Florida, and then the movie ends.
Okay, so Dylan, what did you think of this movie?
It was very confusing, very slow, and I didn't understand what was going on a lot of the time.
What do you mean?
like Tana was explaining, I didn't understand his motivations. I thought he was moving because he couldn't keep a job or something in Texas, or he didn't want to. I thought he was moving to New York because he wanted new opportunities. I thought male prostitution at one point was on the table, which I guess maybe it was or something. I don't know. But then he also was like saying something about like the first lady he hooked up with. He's like, "Oh, I should let you know I'm a hustler." And I was like, "So are you saying you like gain people's trust so you can break into their houses, steal their stuff, and sell it?" Like I don't know what you're trying to say right now. And then the show just kind of meanders, and he starts, he just hooks up with people by references or whatever. I guess he starts over. I don't know. It
really sounds
clear.
like you and Tanner are in the same boat here with this movie, where you guys just don't fucking get it, okay? You just don't fucking get it, you stupid pieces of shit. Jackson, you were much more positive on this movie, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed this movie a good amount.
And why is that, dude? Why do you feel like that was?
I think I just connected with the characters a lot more. These guys looked at the movie in the sense of the big picture of like, this is kind of like what they're planning on doing. I looked at this movie in the sense of what they're currently doing, how their lives are acting out, and the way they're going about their current situations with the interpersonal stuff. Obviously this is a character drama, and that's the main focus of the movie is, Joe Buck working through his fucking past trauma or whatever. He meets somebody else. He also has like major attachment issues because his fucking girlfriend got raped in front of his eyes. Dylan's looking
I forgot about that part.
Know. Yeah, no. So yeah, he's fucked up. There's obviously some pretty deep implications in the movie that he was sexually abused as a child or something by like, his grandma or whatever. And there's also the fucking girlfriend being raped. He's working through all this trauma. You can obviously see because a lot of people that have past issues like that generally have issues with sex and stuff. I think he kind of forms that with his entire personality, which is why he's trying to do what he's doing in the first place. He makes like the cowboy thing his whole shtick. Maybe that's because his grandma was like into that type of thing, and he attributes that to what he should be as like a view of masculinity or something.
Yeah.
And he's just working through it. He obviously finds fucking Ratso as like the main guy to attach to because he just has nobody down there. He's completely alone. And he's super lonely. He also has attachment issues again because I already said that. He latches onto him. They're good friends. They've got like a common kind of goal is just to make it through all this stuff. I just thought it was really engaging. Honestly, I don't think I was really bored throughout most of it. There was some weird stuff, but overall, I enjoyed the movie quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, like Jackson said, like this guy, he's down on his luck, okay? He's obviously had like a pretty rough past here, and so he's just trying to move somewhere to get away from it. In New York, it's like this big sprawling metropolitan area, dude. Like you can really make it in New York. When he's on the bus ride, he's listening to the radio, and they're talking about like, oh yeah, I love them big handsome boys. And he's like, that's me, I'm a big handsome boy, I'm a big rough tough boy. And he goes there so he can like get some fucking poo-tang, get a little bit of fucking cash so he doesn't have to work at like a diner or anything like that anymore. And guess what? Things don't go very well because New York is a shitty ass city and things just don't go well for anyone who's there. And like, as Jackson said, he definitely has like some sort of like past trauma with his grandmother. Whether it was like exactly sexual in nature, we don't totally know. He basically doesn't delve into it whatsoever throughout the entire film. We aren't entirely sure what happened there. Even with, like, the fucking rape scene and shit like that. Like, whether or not, like, that was even, like, fucking... Like, that actually happened, we don't really know. Because whether or not it's just, like, I don't know, some sort of, like, weird interpretation you have of the events or some shit like that, we have no fucking idea whatsoever. And so, like, we can definitely see... like the weird issues he has with his grandma and like all the women who he pursues. He's explicitly going after like these older women throughout the fucking film, And so like there's something there, guys. There's something there for sure.
I just figured that happened because they were wives who wasn't getting anything from their husbands, so they were trying to get this young stud who would, because he's the only one that could satisfy them anymore.
I thought it was just because he figured older women would have money.
That too.
Which I feel like is the much more obvious route to go, Dylan.
Either way, man.
Yeah, it could potentially be a mix of things, man. Who knows?
Get this, though, boys. He was immediately able to bone the shit out of that old white chick. And then later in the movie, when he's trying to fuck the younger woman, he can't get it up. Why is that?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I'm gonna be honest, she looked old as fuck to me, so...
I didn't think she looked that old.
She was like maybe late 30s. She was not that old. The fucking
I thought that was because he had done gay shit already.
It could be that.
Once you go gay, you can't go straight.
Yeah, there's also like the undertones of homosexuality and stuff because
undertones. I got sucked off in a movie theater.
He was doing it for money, dude.
And, like, even when he was getting sucked off, Tanner, he was imagining, like, back when he was with his girlfriend and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't pick up on that at all.
Oh my god.
I might have been zoning out there, to be honest.
This movie's a lot deeper than I think you guys are giving it credit for.
Yeah.
Listen, man, if it doesn't hold my attention enough for me to catch these nuances, then I guess it just doesn't do it for me.
Listen, admittedly,
wrong
this
opinion.
is not my kind of film.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you say that when we were talking earlier, Tanner? Why didn't you say, I don't like character dramas very much?
I didn't say that. Why did I say that?
I'm saying, why didn't you say that?
Because that's not true.
And what do you mean this isn't your type of movie, dude?
Well, this has what I term Napoleon Dynamite syndrome, where it's a 2-hour movie about a fucking retard just having shit happen to him. And I don't find those kinds of movies engaging. I don't like them at all.
I'm gonna have to agree with Tanner here.
I don't agree with you at all, because I think there's absolutely a through line you can follow with this movie. That just being, like, their overarching goal. Like, obviously, pretty early on, we get the goal of them trying to go to Florida and fix the situation. And they fucking get there at the end, you know? After working through all this shit, they, like... He comes to terms at the very end with what he previously was. He kind of accepts who he was, and he throws away his past life. And he gets there in the end with Florida. Obviously, he doesn't get ratchet with him. I think there's absolutely a through line to follow with this movie. You can see his progression as he like kind of learns more. You can see him improving over time with living in the city and things like that. I don't think you're looking at this deep enough.
I don't agree that there is a through line. I do think it's just like shit kind of happens to him and he reacts to shit happening to him. I don't think he has much agency as a character.
He could get a job, though.
He could get a job, which he doesn't. So,
I mean, he's assumably going to when he gets to Florida, because that was the plan.
Yeah, that's what he says his whole plan is. He realizes, like, you know, the entire movie is talking about, like, I'm a hustler. Yes, sir. Hey, baby, I'm a hustler. Hey, dude, I'm a hustler. I'm real good at... He's fucking terrible, though.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing he does works
stupid.
out. And so he finally realizes, man, this last fucking shit. We're going to go down to Florida. Hey, Rizzo, here's the plan. I'm gonna get a job, and that's his entire plan. That's all he says in regards to his plan, because he realizes, oh, that's all I really need to do.
He's a simple guy.
yeah, and I suppose, like, I don't know. If you want to treat the character arc of realizing you need a job to live is like this deep thing, good for you guys. It doesn't do much for me.
Well, you can look at it deeper than that, because honestly, there's a lot of reasons with like ego and stuff with why you wouldn't quote unquote stoop to the level of doing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
For example, a lot of people, if they get a higher, like you're the opposite example of this, Tanner, because you don't do this. But like for example, you could have a job like let's say me, I guess, when I was unemployed. I had a job as a fucking software engineer where I was making good money, and then I got laid off, and then I could have just worked some random shitter job. But I didn't, and that's not necessarily because of like an ego thing. But there are people that are in a position like that where they don't want to like stoop to that level, basically. He thinks he's really good at being a hustler. He knows that he's good at fucking, and he thinks he should be rewarded for this talent. He doesn't want to go and work something else if he knows he can probably make it this way. And a lot of the movie is him realizing that he's wrong about that. He's wrong about like his masculinity, like who he is as a person. He realizes this, and that's why he throws away his identity and he reshapes himself at the end. I think it's quite poetic.
Yeah, I don't... Like, I saw all this shit. I'm not missing any of it. I just don't find it, like, interesting. Like what you just described, I'm like, okay, they made a movie about 2 + 2 = 4.
It's a difference in people, then. I don't think there's really much I can do to defend this movie outside of that.
Yeah, I think this is one of those agree to disagree moments for us.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of personal taste.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, I fucking hate Napoleon Dynamite. I truly loathe that movie. Most people love that movie. It's literally, I can't chalk it up to anything other than personal taste.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose if that's the case, does anyone else have anything else to say about Midnight Cowboy here?
There should have been more gay shit in it.
Maybe then Dylan would have picked up on it. So Tanner, what do you rank in this movie?
Would have rated it lower.
I'm gonna give it a flat C.
Oh,
Dylan, what are you giving it?
Oh, God. I gave this movie a D.
Oh, my God. Jackson, how about you, dude?
I give it an A.
An A. Pretty solid there. Pretty solid. I definitely liked this movie. I'm not quite as high on it as you are, though. I think I'm going to give it a B.
There's no way.
A, B, C, D.
I think it's the first time we've had this happen. I was really hoping it would happen this way.
Anyways, I think you guys are all hack frauds. You don't see the potential of this movie. It landed
I
at a
liked
B
it.
minus.
Whatever,
Fuck
man.
you. B is not a like. That's a slightly above average movie.
That is a
That's not slightly above average, is C+.
Well, according to our tier list, where there's 6 tiers, C plus and B minus are the midpoint.
I guess
so
that's
B
fair.
is slightly above average.
That's not how I view it. I think we also had a discussion on how that's not true.
Yeah, we
but-
can all view
We've
it in
talked
a
about this
different
way too many times.
Yeah, we all look at it in a different way. It doesn't fucking matter. I look at it that way. You guys look at it your other way. Anyways,
What's the next movie?
Yeah, the next movie is Dylan's pick of the week, The Day After Tomorrow.
Oh boy. Alright. So, Day After Tomorrow is about some guy who was talking about how we have this big old current in the Atlantic Ocean. It distributes warm water and keeps our climate warm and hospitable. And, if too much of the polar caps falls off and melts in the ocean, it goes all cold and it'll cause, bad things to happen. And they're like, maybe it'll happen in the next 50 to 100 years. But, surprise, it's happening right now. It's causing tornadoes where tornadoes shouldn't be, earthquakes, hail the size of, grapefruits or whatever. It's just causing overall end-of-the-world havoc everywhere. So, everybody is just about surviving. Everybody gets indoors. We go to our main characters. They're at some, kind of smart kid, some kind of competition or whatever. They're surviving in a library. They're burning books to stay alive. And the dad's only goal is to make it to his kid because he made a promise to make it to his kid before everybody freezes. And then, everybody survives, everybody gets rescued, everybody's moving to Mexico or something. And then all of a sudden the Earth refreshes itself, and then it starts returning back to normal. And that's the end of the movie.
I don't think it does ever return back to normal. I'm pretty
It
sure
doesn't-
they're just
it
well,
doesn't
it's
turn-
frozen now.
It doesn't turn back to normal in the span of the movie, but it does start reverting back to normal. And that was the implication at the end of the movie.
Is it? I thought the implication was that the world's just, fucked from the north end and the south end.
Yeah.
No, it's renewing itself. It's how they explained it.
I don't think that's true.
It
Well,
is.
I remember at the start of the movie, they said that this is a grand reset kind of situation. Is we fucked up the balance of the world technically.
Yeah.
This is the world basically reacting to that change in a really exaggerated way. And after this happens, it's going to slowly correct itself over time. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, Dylan, as a
Understandable.
resident scientist here, how scientifically accurate would you say this movie is?
Everything in this... Not everything. Most of the things that happen in this movie are possible, but the time span in which they occur is not.
So you think that, the Earth can, suck up fucking shit from the upper atmosphere to make it colder down here?
No, that's why I said most of it. So I think
Okay.
the unrealistic things as far as that goes is the hurricane on land, just because there's no actual scientific name for that. And then the tornadoes in LA, for many reasons. I think there's too many skyscraper buildings in mainline US LA. Also, the other issue with that is most tornadoes aren't strong enough to rip apart skyscrapers, considering they're made of rebar and concrete. Because literally these tornadoes are just kind of erasing buildings, which isn't super realistic. So
what does make sense then?
hail, tidal waters. Well, you guys got to keep in mind though too. This is a sci-fi end of the world viewers dream movie where all of this everything in this movie is exaggerated. The timeline, the events.
So you're saying this is a movie for you, Dylan. This
Yes.
is your dream movie.
I do like this movie a lot. This is a pretty good movie. It's not a dream movie, but it's a pretty good movie.
Oh no. So I didn't like this movie particularly very much at all. The disaster itself barely lasts very long throughout the movie. We get
are you
the
talking
big
about?
big old fucking tidal wave coming into the city, and then that's about it. From there it's just oh, it's cold. We're really cold.
Do you realize that
And that's about it.
Do you realize the natural disasters occur 100% throughout the entirety of the movie?
What are you
What do
talking
you
about,
classify as natural disasters?
Dylan? If we're watching a disaster movie, I'm expecting to see some buildings getting fucking destroyed and shit like that. I'm not expecting to see some people huddled up for warmth because it's cold outside.
Tornadoes destroyed the buildings in LA at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, like I said, at the beginning of the movie.
And then the tidal wave destroyed buildings and boats.
Yes, also at the
center
beginning of the movie.
And
Throughout
then
the rest of the movie after that, Dylan.
towards the
what
end of the
happens?
movie, when everything flash freezes, that also starts destroying buildings.
And what happens when it's fucking cold outside? Once it's cold, what happens in the movie?
Nico, the cold is the natural disaster.
That's a really fucking boring disaster. When they're fucking outrunning the cold, that shit's so fucking stupid.
Whatever, man. It doesn't have to be realistic. We've already established at this point that it's not realistic, Tanner. I don't know why you're giving me that look.
I just feel like you've defended this movie and the last one with Moonfall with, like, I'm just so into the science, but now you're saying that something that, like, that sentence you just said is, like, directly in opposition to that sentiment.
I mean, I don't have to think it's realistic to like the movie.
No, but, like, what I'm saying is you've made two statements defending the movies, but they're in conflict with each other.
What did I say about Moonfall that's conflicting with what I just said?
You're like, I'm into the science of it, and then we point out, but, like, it doesn't follow science very well. And
I mean,
then now
if I wanted to get
defending this one by
creative,
saying it's not realistic.
if I wanted to get creative with the science, I could see how it works. Like, the logic they explained in the movie as to how it's happening, I can understand how that works, because thermodynamics and convection. But
Yes, thermodynamics and convection.
yes, thermodynamics and convection, that's how that works.
Bro waffling
That's
about
why
it.
everything that was in the center of the eye got flash frozen, because all of the hot air escapes. So when all the hot air escapes out the sides, it sucks in air, and since it's such a large eye and it covers such a large amount, it's pulling extremely cold air from extremely high up in the atmosphere.
Dylan, at the very beginning of this, I asked you if that's possible, and you said no.
I just got done saying I realize it's not realistic, but if I wanted to use my imagination, I could see how that works.
That's not science, then. That's just you making shit up.
It's sci-fi. We covered that. It's science fiction.
Okay. I guess you take a much more literal interpretation of the term science fiction than I do.
Why would you take it less literal than science fiction? Fiction is in the name.
Well, no, you see, I think what most people intend is that science fiction means fictional stories that are heavily science-based, whereas you're interpreting it as a scientific process that is fictional.
Yes, the science in the movie is based on the fiction that is also in the movie. It doesn't have to be based on our perception of what actual science is. It can just
Yeah,
be
I
the
don't think
science in
that's
the
what
movie.
most people mean by that term, but whatever.
Well, that's unfortunate.
So beyond the shitty disasters that only take up a very small portion of the
They take
film.
up more time than Moonfall.
No,
What are
they
you
don't,
talking
Ted.
about?
This is something
Yes,
that
they
you
do.
were talking
There's
about.
so
They
much more
absolutely do
destruction
not.
in this
The
movie
disasters
than
in this
Moonfall.
movie take
It
up
takes
barely
way
any
more
time
time.
whatsoever. In Moonfall, they're much more stretched out throughout the entire fucking movie, okay? And on top of that, we still got a bunch of funny little moments that happen in between all that shit. Whereas with this movie, these are the most fucking bland cookie-cutter characters we've had in any film so far. There is
True.
nothing to any of them. It's just, gosh, I hope I survive and maybe see my dad again, and then I'm a girl, and I got hurt.
And they also have the fucking super blatant, like, oh, this guy is the weak but smart nerd, and this guy is a Chad, and he's gonna take his girl. Oh, and now he gets to impress the girl and show off and show that he's the better man.
Oh, and we
True.
also have a black friend, by the way. He's also here.
I think you guys are focusing too much on the characters.
What do you mean? They would take up most of
Dylan,
the
we're
movie.
reviewing the movie.
I'm just
Guapish
saying-
at the movies is us reviewing movies. Yes, we're going to talk about the things in the movie.
That's not what I'm referring to in this point. Is like, yes, the characters are there, but I'm more like, on a first time view of this, I'm more concerned of if they're going to survive, not who they are as characters.
Why do we care if they survive if we don't care about them as characters?
Because it's a natural disaster movie. You want people to survive in a natural disaster movie.
But we have no investment to these characters.
Yeah.
If you like somebody as a character and you're attached to this character, you're gonna want them to survive. We had no attachment to these characters, hence we have no reason to want them.
I mean, I'm not attached
survive
to any
or
of these characters either. I'm not particularly fond of any of them, but I still want them all to survive.
That's just a difference in people then. I don't give a shit about a fucking character unless they make me give a shit about a character. So anything could happen to a character that I don't give a shit about and I wouldn't fucking care. Something really benign could happen to a character I like a lot. Like they could get a fucking paper cut and be like, oh my god, no, my little baby heart can't handle this because I love this character, right? It really is a big thing for me.
Huh.
So, like, Dylan, if you don't care about the characters at all, what is it that's making you attached to this film?
Because
there's really basically nothing happening throughout the entirety of it. Once they get into the library, it's like they're trying to figure out like how to be warm. They're like, oh, let's burn these books, and then a lady pipes up and is like, hang on, don't burn the books. Like, fuck you, old lady, we're gonna burn the books anyway. And then nothing happens for a while until they get chased by shitty CGI wolves.
Yeah, the wolves were pretty rough. No pun
And then
intended.
that's it. They burn a fire that allows them to not be cold. That's it.
I think as I can't supplement this argument because we've reached an impasse with the fact that you're not acknowledging that the ice age that is currently happening is the natural disaster.
He doesn't like how passive of a disaster it is.
It's not passive though. I mean,
I want it to be more disastrous.
it's a slower process than getting sucked up in a tornado and jettisoned at 227 miles per hour. But like, I don't know how to pass that. We can't have the argument if we can't get past the fact that an ice age is a natural disaster. So like, there's no point in having it.
I mean, sure, Dylan, the Ice Age is a natural disaster, but it's not really generating much, like, actual conflict for them at all, outside of we're cold now, so we need to burn things to stay warm.
Listen, we don't have to have the same opinion. We're here to have opinions on the movie. They don't have to be the same. We shouldn't be here trying to convince each other unless we really think we can convince each other.
I disagree. I mean, I wouldn't even say we're convincing each other. I think we're just discussing the fucking movie, which is the whole point.
I feel like we keep revisiting the same points, which is why I'm making this statement.
Fine. I thought this movie was okay.
That's fine.
I thought it was better than Moonfall.
I disagree. This movie is absolutely worse than Moonfall is. There's nothing funny to even take away from this movie, Tanner.
Why are you looking for comedy in a natural disaster film?
Because Moonfall was fucking hilarious, that's why.
Was it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was hilariously bad, which is what he's looking for in disaster movies.
Yeah, because disaster movies are inherently terrible. There's not a single good one amongst them.
I know a better one.
What is it, Dylan?
I'm not going to tell you.
It's 2012, but that one's
not
also
2012.
bad.
2012 is kind of bad. It's super unrealistic.
And this
Are any
was...
disaster movies necessarily
No, but like
realistic?
actually nothing in that movie makes sense. Like they don't even explain it in that movie.
It's the Mayans. They're
Yeah,
back.
they're just like, oh, the world's ending.
Honestly, I think in disaster movies, it's better to just not try and explain anything.
Yeah. Because as soon as you try and explain shit, then it opens the door to, oh, you're going to try and explain it? That means I'm allowed to poke holes in it.
Which many people have done for this movie. That was one of the massive sticking points of this film when it was released, that nothing in this movie makes any sense.
But like, people just try to poke holes in it with our logic. We need to use that movie's logic. That's how that works.
How are we going to know what their logic is? We don't exist in their world.
They explain it!
They're explaining it with our science, Dylan.
It's slightly modified. It's not like our science.
No, it's the same universe as fucking Moonfall. It's not actually Earth. We cannot compare it directly.
Yeah.
Damn.
Gravity can be whatever strength it needs to be, wherever it needs to be that strength.
Listen, all right. Are we? I feel like we're done hashing out this movie.
It does feel like we're winding down.
Let's get on to the
How did the boat get into the middle of the fucking city?
That's also what I was wondering. I actually legitimately wondered that. I was like, because I haven't seen this movie in years, and I was like,
yeah, with a wave that big, how did it not just immediately topsize? How is it even standing?
Here, Jackson, let me explain it. So you got like the building right here, right? And you got the tidal wave up here. You see the boat was up here on top of the tidal wave, and it got carried over the building, and then the tidal wave went down, and the boat was already past all the buildings.
Wait, are we not talking about the boat that was floating through New York City?
Yes.
On top of the buildings?
No, it was on top of the tidal wave that went over the buildings.
I mean, it could have just been
I'm giving a stupid explanation for something that doesn't make sense. Stop thinking about it.
It could have been behind the tidal wave.
Obviously, it doesn't make... But how would it get past the building then, Dylan?
Because it could still navigate through the city. It can just crash into buildings.
No, the road isn't wide enough.
You don't know that.
You very clearly see in the very shot we see it that the road behind the boat would not have been wide enough.
Did you measure it, Tanner?
I think it's a cool set piece regardless, but it's stupid, which is the whole point of disaster movies. It's cool set pieces that make no fucking sense. Yeah.
Why the fuck were they outrunning the cold? I still don't get that. Why they were just like confronted with wolves. Why didn't they just have the wolves chase them?
Because the wolves are really bad looking, and the director was like, we cannot have these wolves be in more of the fucking movie.
Nico, do you know what the wind speed was when they were getting chased by the cold?
Dylan, that doesn't fucking matter.
Do you know the wind speed?
Then why does them outrunning it matter?
In fact, there wasn't any wind in that scene.
Exactly, so why does it matter, Nico?
What the fuck do you mean, what does it matter? They were outrunning the cold, Dylan. Did you not see that?
Why wouldn't they be able to outrun the cold?
It doesn't matter that they were able to. It's stupid that they were doing that to begin with, because it's dumb.
Why is it dumb?
He thinks the concept of running away from temperatures is dumb, Dylan.
Oh yeah, immediately freezing to death within seconds is dumb.
Oh my god, rank the fucking
plus.
movie, Dylan.
What do you say?
He said B+.
B+, okay. Well, I'm giving it a D+ myself.
There you go.
I do think this movie is better than Moonfall, generally.
What'd you rank Moonfall?
Even though I liked the last third of Moonfall because of just how fucking retarded it was. This movie was just kind of mid the entire time. It didn't really have any like big.
I don't know if D+
I think
is mid,
overall,
but
it was boring as fuck and stupid and dumb. This is also I'm still ranking this critically. Like this movie's stupid and makes no fucking sense, and that's factoring into the rank of this.
huh.
And also it being boring for a lot of it factors into that.
Yeah, I'm also right there with you with a D+, Jackson. A D+ for me as well.
I'm gonna go... I'll go a B-.
There we go.
Shockingly high. You should have been on Dylan's defense more. Anyways, that puts us at a C+ overall.
There we go.
Okay, and
And
for
that leads
our
us perfectly.
final film of the week.
This leads us into potentially, maybe even the best movie we watched this week.
No.
There's a chance, Dylan. You never know. I'm
There's
gonna win
no
you over
chance.
with this.
It was
This is gonna
pretty good.
This is going to be an insane argument. This is going to be a fucking.
There is no
come-up as well
argument.
coming
I
out of-
have nothing to say about this movie besides the ranking I'm giving it.
Yeah, I feel like for Dylan and Tanner Jackson, I can get their argument out of the way pretty quickly. I didn't like that there was a rape scene in this, and also it was boring. That's it. That's all they have to say about the movie.
That is the argument.
That's not what I have more to say than that, if that's
Well,
the case.
don't worry. I'm going to give my synopsis. I'm going to give my defense, and we're all going to come out this with a unanimous S+. This is a perfect movie here, and I'm going to
I really
explain to you
hope,
guys
for the
why.
sake of my sanity, you are being 100% sarcastic.
Anyways, we are talking about the French drama thriller film Irreversible. I don't know how the fuck you pronounce it in French. That sounds like a retard there, probably. This is a reverse chronological order film where basically all of the scenes are reversed and played backwards. The movie is not playing in fucking reverse, though, obviously. So this is the general scope of this movie. I'm going to explain it in chronological order because that makes sense. Is we have a young couple that's falling in love. This is like I don't know how to explain this without getting into the weeds of it, because there's really not a whole lot going on with the plot, generally speaking.
Yeah, no, there really isn't.
They're fucking at the start. The girl finds out that she is pregnant with his child. They end up going to a party. There is the friend, Pierre, that's coming along with them to this party. He was like the previous lover to the girl, Alex. But I guess Alex is dropping him for our current guy, who I can't remember the name of. Who cares? They go to the party. Main guy is getting fucked up. He's doing coke. He's getting drunk. And he is harassing Alex, and Alex is not a huge fan of that. She doesn't like the man he's becoming right now. He's not the man she fell in love with. She decides to leave the party because she doesn't want to be there anymore. She's trying to cross the street. Some girl on the street tells her, "Oh yeah, you should like go into the underpass because that's where it'd be safer to do that instead of trying to cross the street." So she takes her advice and then gets brutally raped for 9 minutes in an underpass.
Was it 9 minutes?
Was it 9 minutes?
Yeah.
Did you time it?
Yes, this is also, in fact, longer than Straw Dogs. It's hard to rank, or not rank, time how long Straw Dogs was. I didn't want to go into the nitty-gritty of it because it stops a lot and cuts back to, like, the husband hunting or whatever during the rape scene. So, Straw Dogs is, like, a couple of minutes at least shorter than Irreversible's
Holy
rape
shit.
scene. It's pretty rough. Yeah, no, she just gets raped for, like, 9 minutes and then gets beaten bloody in a fucking tunnel. And then, yeah, the paramedics get called, obviously. She's pulled in. Our main guys figure out what happened. And then they get some, like, mobster guys coming over to them saying, like, "Hey, yeah, if you guys pay us, we can help you figure out what happened to her." So they do that. And then they start getting information on who did it, who done it. They figure out that he's some dude that is currently in some, like, gay sex club or whatever it is. They fucking harass some Chinese taxi driver to get there. They steal a taxi, and then they go on some fucking psychotic rampage through this gay club, harassing everybody, trying to figure out where this guy is. They eventually find him. He gets into a fight, and then they beat his fucking skull in with some sort of gas tank or something.
There's this fire extinguisher.
Yeah, the dude's arm gets broken, and then he gets pulled out of there by, like, paramedics. And then we see some guys naked in a cell talking about something. This movie's a fucking trip. It's some crazy shit. There's obviously deep themes going on in this movie, pretty obviously. specifically just like with the title of the movie, Irreversible. It's pretty obviously talking about the rape scene. This is an irreversible act that happened to this girl. This cannot be taken back. This is dramatically
Pregnancy also can't be taken back.
Yeah, like, you know, it ties into, like, the way in which the movie is structured as well. It's going in reverse, so that you see it like, oh, these are all things that have already happened, you know? Nothing can be done to, like, change any of this shit that's already gone down, you know? You get it, Tanner? Do you have it?
Yeah, I get
there
it's
yet?
a little pretentious.
Yeah, they also, of course, you know, they murder somebody. That's also an irreversible act. They've taken somebody's life. That's something that can never be undone. There's a lot of deep themes with this movie. What are you trying to say, Tanner?
So, this movie is just like... this is another kind of movie I dislike, where it's pretending to be smart. Well, it's either pretending to be smart, or the people are like, damn, this story we made is fucking boring. Let's put a unique way of introducing the story to try and cover that up for dumb people, you know? And like, I don't know, all it really is like, they're like, okay, we're gonna have just a really straightforward story, frankly. And we'll have 3 big moments, and then, you know, people will fucking clap at the Cannes Film Festival, you know, we're like, there will be a brutal, like, a crazy, brutal murder. People are like, holy shit, the French are so good at films, they put murders in their movies. There will be a 9-minute long anal rape scene. And
well, you see, Tanner, the reason why they made it 9 minutes long is because that's the time that an average rape actually happens. So they want to force us to, like, witness what many women have to go through.
Right, and then, you know, dumb people on Rotten Tomatoes will be like, holy shit, the French are geniuses, they put rapes in their movies, and then, you know, at the end, they reveal she's pregnant, so we're like, holy shit, now that rape that I was already uncomfortable watching feels even worse, because I'm easily manipulated. I just think this movie does not have much going on, and it's essentially, like, the filmmaker trying to trick us into thinking it's deep.
I want to go next.
Go for it.
Okay. I'm gonna be completely honest, Jackson. When you explained it in
missed
forward...
the rape scene.
When you explained it in forward time, this movie sounded way better than when it sounded in reverse time.
Oh yeah, actually that leads into something. This movie apparently is getting a re-release soon, or maybe already has, where they just play the movie in chronological order for some fucking reason. I don't know why. Whenever I was looking up stuff about this movie, all I was seeing was like the re-release shit. They like had a trailer come out recently for it. Weird shit. Anyways, go on.
Anyway, yeah, there were a lot of things in this movie that I was just, from a moral standpoint, not okay with. The first being murder and watching somebody's skull get bashed in the middle of a gay, like, sex club or whatever.
The first one for me was it being French.
Yeah, and the way that it started didn't really make a ton of sense. And just, it seemed like the further, because, like, we were having conversations during... like, watching this movie. You guys were slightly ahead of me, and you're like, oh my god, it gets so much worse. Just wait. I dreaded the fact that it got worse. And the fact that it got worse going backwards was even worse. And I guess just to skip right along here, I just slowly just became more and more disenchanted from this movie. It wasn't the kind of movie I honestly didn't enjoy this movie whatsoever. Yes, Tanner?
How long did it take you to realize that they were playing it in reverse?
The fact that they were just... it was... so, when it was the two naked... well, the guy was in his underwear, but whatever. The guys up in the apartment room, they were doing whatever. I was like, okay, this is a weird intro to a movie. And then they cut down to, like, the guy getting escorted out of the nightclub on, like, the ambulance. I was like, okay, that's not usually something you open with. And this movie is also called Irreversible. And then it started doing this weird roll thing. And then it... like, as soon as it transitioned after the roll is when it, like solidified the fact. I was like, oh, this movie's going in reverse, because otherwise how would this scene make sense going after this scene? So
that's crazy. You figured it out way faster than me. I think we had to go backwards, I think, twice until I put it together.
Oh. Yeah, I was like, these events don't make any sense in the order that they're portraying it, so something's wrong here. So, but yeah, my only big things with this movie is a lot of things morally that I dislike a lot. And just,
gay people.
This is definitely... no, not
French
that.
people.
French
Hispanics.
people, I don't know. Yeah, I thought that was really weird that
Trans.
they had Hispanic people. Yeah, that was also super weird that was just randomly thrown in the movie. It was weird that they had Hispanics in
Holy
this
shit,
movie.
dude! The French are so good at making movies. They put women with penises in their films.
Why'd they have to show us it, man? Why'd they have to fucking
That's
show
what
us
I'm
it?
saying. This is them. This is literally. This is French people being like, "How do we manipulate reviewers to give us good scores? We'll just put shocking shit in it for no reason."
Yeah,
Tanner,
I
I feel like you're not being, like, you know, generous enough to this film. You haven't even touched on the camera work yet, dude, which was mighty impressive.
like I said,
And the fucking acting. All these shots were insanely long one takes, and they're fucking incredible. Like, the acting is really, really fucking well done throughout the entirety of this movie. And I think we're like ragging on the chronological order of this movie a bit, or the non-chronological order of the movie. I think it was honestly pretty well done. I think it was kind of fun watching just the insanity of the start and trying to figure out what the fuck's going on, and then slowly piecing together like the mystery of what's happening as you're watching the movie, and then all culminate at the final scene where we kind of really see where it all starts. I thought that was a really cool and fun way of doing the movie. I think it would have been a pretty boring, benign movie if they did it chronologically.
Well, yeah, I agree. It's boring if you don't zhuzh it up like that, but I don't find the zhuzhing to counteract it being boring.
yeah, the disenchantment, like I had mentioned before, utterly shuts down everything else about this movie for me.
I agree
did not
that the
care.
acting was good. Camera work, I understand what they're doing. I get what they're doing and why they're doing it. I just, like, one shots can be cool. I don't really care in this case. And for the first, half of it, pretty much up until the girl, when the camera is just doing this shit and you can never see what's happening or whatever, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it doesn't do anything for me. I don't care. Frankly, it was hurting my fucking head, frankly, to look at it.
It makes sense in the context of the plot, though. Obviously, it's getting fucking ridiculous because, the guy is literally hopped up on drugs. He's crazed up with adrenaline on just this insane situation. He's planning on fucking killing a person, basically. There's, like, crazy loud music. It's dark. He's in a place he's not aware of. And he's, super inebriated with all these drugs he's on. It makes sense that it's all like this.
Yeah,
I think it was a cool way of doing it.
I get that. I understand the rationale there, but
It didn't work.
it's sort of Nico's classic thing of, like, just because it's intentional doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah.
And I think for me it was not good.
Yeah. I mean, the ending didn't make any sense. I didn't understand why she was sitting in the middle of a park reading a book. That symbolically doesn't make any sense to me. And if I wanted to think about something I was watching either in show format or movie format, I would go watch a documentary. I'm just here to be entertained.
The whole point of the ending, from my perspective, obviously the whole movie's going backwards constantly, and the ending is just trying to portray, like a very early on time in her life.
I mean, I assumed
back
that,
when
but
things were simple and other stuff happened,
Pre-rape, if you will.
there was no
easy.
context to the situation, so I was lost. I was also just
It's
disenchanted
some
from the movie.
fucking
So
French bullshit ending. You know how it is.
I think this movie was just French bullshit in general.
It was.
That damn French people.
Those fucking Frenchies.
I've been talking very positively about this movie a lot, but I definitely think the second half of this movie is boring as fuck. It really, you're getting carried a lot by just the
Rape.
performances. No,
Jesus.
The party scene, them walking and taking the train, all of that is entirely being carried by the performances of the characters. They're not really talking about anything necessarily important. Nothing is super relevant to the plot. It's entirely just.
What do you mean they're talking about
this
sex?
Yeah, that was the other thing. What was the point of the train conversation? That was a completely pointless conversation, added nothing to the movie.
It was foreshadowing for when she gets brutally ass raped.
I don't care.
All it is doing is we're watching the performances of these actors, which of course again was really good. They were not really talking about anything super relevant. Maybe you could say it's some foreshadowing shit. I think it's just them talking about shit they're interested in talking about.
Well, exactly, dude. You see, they're talking about sex and stuff, and, like, she's obviously uncomfortable with the conversation, but eventually, like, they keep pushing it.
She gets raped.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you mean this video's demonetized?
So similar to Jackson, I've definitely been defending this movie. I didn't really like this movie whatsoever, though. Like, I definitely get what it's going for here. I think that the fact that, I understand why the movie is being played in reverse. However, I do think that it is overall a detriment to the film, ultimately, because we basically, when this woman is introduced, she immediately gets raped afterward, just the moment we meet her. And so we don't really have like any sort of like pre-established like feelings towards or anything like that, like we would have gotten had the movie actually been played in a normal sort of way. So it's just like, wow, this is a really bad thing that's happening to this woman. And then after that, we see her some more, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, I can't stop seeing the woman who just got ass raped for 9 minutes.
Exactly.
And then obviously, as Tanner talked about previously, the reveal that, oh, she was pregnant the entire time. Isn't that sad? It's like some fucking Last of Us Part 2 bullshit. That's so fucking terrible. I hate it so much.
What's up, Tanner?
What's up, Tanner? What's up, dude?
Do you think this movie would have worked better if instead of just going from, the end to the beginning of the story, we actually jump back and forth between the ending and the beginning, and then watch 9 minutes of ass rape, and then it goes to the credits?
Less rape, but I like your idea.
Joking aside, do you think that would have worked better so that we do get introduced to her and get a bit more attached to her, and like maybe... Let me just do this. Let's rewrite the movie so she just gets brutally murdered instead of ass raped for 9 minutes. And
I would have preferred that, honestly.
And then we play it like go back and forth, and we can do the opening where he's getting wheeled out in the stretcher or whatever, and we're like, huh, what the fuck is going on? And then they're hinting at Alex, and we're like, what? And then it does the maybe not the very very beginning, maybe like once they're going to the party or whatever, and then go back and forth like that until we see. I guess it would be ending on the murder then, which is a bit weird, but
Yeah, I mean, playing around with, like, a previously established sort of, like, narrative device like that, just like, how a movie typically progresses, is something you need to be really careful with. You look at something like Pulp Fiction, it does it very well. It's, like, taking us to a bunch of different places in, like, these people's lives, where I feel like it does it fairly well there, We haven't gotten to Pulp Fiction quite yet, so I'm not gonna spoil things too much for folks who haven't seen it yet, like Dylan, I'd assume.
Yes.
But, yeah, like, a movie like that, it does it very well. Here, I just don't feel like it adds enough to the film to justify it really being structured in this way.
I mean, like
I
I said,
agree, but also if it weren't structured like that, I don't think there's very much to this film either.
well, like I said prior, I think this movie would have been better played in normal chronological order than reverse.
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right, rankings then. Jackson, what are you rating this movie, man?
I'm absolutely the highest on this movie out of all of us. I give it a D+.
Oh, that's the highest? I mean, I guess never mind.
I assume the rest of you guys are gonna give it fucking F.
I'm giving this one an ass rape out of 10. I'm giving it an F+.
There we go. Dylan, how about you, dude?
Me, I'm giving this movie an F-.
Whoa.
I will never watch this movie again in my life. I will never
I'll never watch it again either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no plans on doing that either.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of the point. It's supposed to be an absurdly hard-to-watch movie that makes you think about the things that you're watching.
I mean, yeah, Jackson, as you talked about with, like, the themes and stuff like that, I really don't think that the themes are really even that obvious in this film. You look at something like Straw Dogs, and with that movie, it's very obvious that it's trying to say something. It's just not doing it very well. Whereas with a movie like this, it's not really even obvious what's trying to do here. All we're really watching
is
like
trying to show you a 9-minute anal rape scene.
Exactly.
That was why the movie was made.
It's just showing us, like, these really fucked up things happening to people without really trying to comment on it very much whatsoever, I feel like. So...
Wouldn't it be fucked up if... Yeah, it would be. Whoa.
I think I'm going to give this movie an F+ as well.
Holy shit. Has it finally happened?
No, I don't think it worked. Well, actually, it might be an F+.
Yeah, the fucking F-. Yeah, no, it's an F+.
Holy shit.
First F-rated movie, boys! Let's go!
We did it, ladies and gentlemen. Our first F-tier movie.
I was really worried about Jackson's D+ after Tanner gave it an F+. I was like, there's no way this movie's not gonna be an F.
It finally
you give it a fucking F-. That is quite the,
I was very disenchanted.
Downer, as they say.
Well, Jackson, congratulations on Guapish Rule 34's first F-tier movie. How does it feel, man?
I'm pretty indifferent. I don't really care.
I truly would have figured with how you guys were ragging on my ratings of my movies, or not even my movies, that I certainly would have hit this low first, but I guess not.
You were never going to let that happen, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get higher.
I'm just picking some random shit. I don't even know where I fucking found this movie.
Where did you fucking
Yeah, I know. You
find
need to figure out how you heard this movie, man. I'm curious now.
A lot of the time, I just see like a random Reddit thread of like, what are some disturbing movies or something? Like, oh, let's write down all of these without looking any deeper into them.
Fantastic.
Or like I see some random meme or something about it, and I write it down. Yeah. I'm not thinking too hard about any of this.
That's
Jackson
funny.
has fucking Vomit Girl Holocaust on his movie or some shit.
What is that?
I might.
Oh.
That sounds hilarious.
It's not. It's a series of vomit porn films.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's the Holocaust come in? Anyways,
It's a lot of vomit.
time to make our picks for this week.
Yes, sir. Tanner, what are you going with, dude?
Okay, guys, we're going to be rounding out Netflix Original November with, I'm going to guess, the most infamous Netflix original movie. We're going to be watching another French film,
Oh, God.
Cuties!
Huh. Okay.
Dylan, what do you know about this one?
I know that cuties are like little oranges or something.
That's right, it's a documentary about oranges. Don't think about it.
I feel like I'm gonna hate this movie too.
As for me, our movies have been real fucking downers lately, right?
I
Yes.
guess so.
I feel like we need to get a little bit of levity in here. We need a happy movie for once. So I'm going to be picking the 1998 film Happiness.
Huh.
Never heard of this one.
Fair enough, dude.
Let's hope the title is not sarcastic.
Nico, are you trying to say that Rocky isn't a happy movie?
Rocky made me sad.
Oh. Damn.
And Jackson, what is the Patreon pick?
Oh, no, let me roll it. It is Battlefield Earth.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Another film by Lucas Ledet. Congratulations, dude. We just always hit your films, don't we?
I actually really wanted to watch this movie. Thank you very
He gets
much.
one every month somehow. I think
Dude's
he
on top
actually
of
has.
this movie.
That's
well,
fucking
I think
funny.
he also is consistent on movie picks, so
True. Is this a disaster movie?
kind of. It's an alien disaster movie.
Holy shit.
And if you also want to get your movie picked out in the Patreon, then you can do so if you just do exactly what Jackson is about to tell you.
Sub to our Patreon.
Dude, in addition to getting their movies picked, what else do they get from the Patreon?
Yeah, you get access to the pre-guap, which is our pre-show. You get early access to the episodes whenever they're done editing. You get access to our Discord, so you can, request movie, talk to us, Slimebot, the business, the works, and you get 500 slime coins, baby. Oh yeah, one time, by the way, only once. And also you get your name right out every episode, like the following people.
Yeah, just like Raheem Rajwani, Kyler Nikolai, and my most special patron, Barack Obama, Topperman Man, Joshua Bean, Karma Chameleon, Tudbot, Lucas Ledet, Hunter, and Jacob Edwards. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye!
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.